Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from a whole bag of cheese, and it says, am I the arsehole for refusing to wear body makeup for my friend's wedding? My friend has just gotten engaged and has asked me to be her maid of honor. I'm beyond thrilled for her and beyond touched she's asked me, but it's on the condition I wear body makeup over my psoriasis. I can't do that. Not only is it impractical, any makeup that will actually cover it will exacerbate the condition and make life miserable for me. To be clear, I have it well controlled. I am not flaky. The skin is simply very red. It covers 80% of one forearm, 20% on the other, both elbows, and I have large patches on my calves, knees, and 90% of the top of one foot. I use gentle manual exfoliation and a moisturizer that helps control the dry and excess skin. I apply the moisturizer a couple of times a day and wouldn't be able to do this while wearing makeup. I let her know that I wouldn't be able to do that, explained why. Even though she knows I have to be careful with all the products I use, and she's quite unhappy with me. She wants beautiful photographs that make everyone feel beautiful and confident, which really upset me. I'm content and confident in my skin. I know it's there and people stare sometimes, but what can I do about that? Most people think I've had some kind of gnarly motorbike accident or something, to be honest. I'm at a point in my life where I honestly don't care and often forget that it's unusual to see. I know the reason is because she doesn't want to see it in her photos. I said as much to her and she was offended. I suggested that I wear something with long sleeves and a skirt, but she already has her heart set on a midi-length strapless dress and a shawl covering won't go. It got to the point where she was getting heated because I won't do it and told me that I either wore the body makeup or don't bother even coming. I ended up telling her either she has me as is or not at all and left. She is now not speaking to me, but has told her fiance that I accepted the role. So someone in the comments asked the question that probably a lot of us would want to know: why are you friends with this person? Opie says, I've known her forever. We have a really great friendship usually, and this hasn't ever been a problem before. When we've had little disagreements, we've both been really understanding about it, and those have been few and far between. I really don't understand this. It's so out of character for her. And then OP replies to another comment that says, because she's usually a really kind and caring, empathetic person. Genuinely too. We've been through a lot together and have supported each other through some really messed up times. She's good fun, funny without making fun of people. She's just a good egg. Any disagreements or issues we've had always been talked through with care and consideration on both sides, and it's never felt unbalanced. This is truly out of character for her. Another commenter says, not the arsehole. Psoriasis can be so painful and debilitating during a flare-up, and I'm assuming that since you were asked to be maid of honor, she has known about you and your psoriasis and psoriasis control routine. You shouldn't have to sacrifice your skin's health for days or weeks after the wedding just to be there. You've even given her alternate options to help conceal your reddened skin for photos, and she's not even considering them or your feelings and health. Opie says that's exactly it. It's taken so long to find a good combination of things that work and keep it stable. And she's seen me at my absolute worst with it and never said or done anything other than been supportive about it. I really don't want to miss her wedding, but I can't physically or mentally deal with how bad it's been before. Another commenter says, you are definitely not the arsehole. As someone who also suffers from psoriasis, I'd like to suggest seeking a medical professional because manual exfoliation and applying moisturizer multiple times a day, which I know from personal experience is helpful. I also know from personal experience that there are so many prescription topicals, or not topicals, that treat psoriasis far better. A small amount of triamcinolone acetonide, a topical steroid, applied a few times a week keeps my psoriasis in check. It really doesn't sound like yours is well managed. But for this particular issue, I'll stick with I can't commit to wearing makeup to cover up my skin, so if my skin is enough of a problem for you to exclude me from your wedding party, then so be it. Opie says thank you for your concern. A few comments have made me realize I probably need a new derm and a new approach. I've tried a few different steroid-based creams and ointments, but after time my skin would become quite thin, and it would stay pink even still. I couldn't play rough with my dog because she'd break the skin, even playing gently. I'm also really clumsy and would knock my elbows on doors and walls and the skin would split. I've just resigned to the redness and my current routine has been working. My current derm basically said my condition isn't serious enough for some meds and that others I can't use due to liver issues. We often see sudden changes behaviors in stories like this, and it always leaves me wondering why. What's been said? Is something come up? Is it just wedding bridezilla? Is someone else involved? Not that it makes any excuse, she's the one who's approached OP and said all this, which I find absolutely heartbreaking. This is your friend, someone who's known about your psoriasis, knows what you've gone through, and knows what you still go through to this day. So to say that to you is absolutely heartbreaking in my opinion, and absolutely awful. Not to sound patronizing, but I was really sort of proud of OP when they said content and confident in their skin, which I think is absolutely amazing, and I just believe a real friend would celebrate that confidence, not demand you hide it because it might clash with her aesthetics. But OP did come in with an update and said, firstly, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who commented. I honestly thought the majority would tell me to suck it up, it's just a few hours for one day. I was surprised by all the supportive comments, compromise suggestions and encouragement to seek further treatment for the sake of my health, not my appearance. I'm definitely going to take my psoriasis more seriously due to some of you, so thank you. Also sorry to the mods, they had to lock comments because too many people were being rude. I also want to mention all the Photoshop and editing comments. I feel stupid for not even considering it in the moment. It's such a simple and obvious solution. I was so shocked and taken aback by my friend's reaction and the insistence it didn't even cross my mind. I spent the night bawling my eyes out because a lot of comments made me feel I'd wasted nearly 30 years of friendship with this person. Doubt a lot of it. I love her still and was still so confused. I was going to call my friend tonight to discuss this again. I was truly touched she asked me to be maid of honor. She has such a close relationship with her sister that I never thought even once she would ask me. I didn't end up calling friend, as her fiance called me, to thank me for accepting the role, to tell me secretly that his family wanted to pay for the bridal shower hen's night and anything else we wanted to do or go, as he knows the people friend wanted as other bridesmaids weren't in a position to be able to contribute, and that he and his family would reimburse me any cost for body makeup, which did flag as odd to me. I told him that I hadn't accepted the role, and that friend had told me either I wear the makeup or don't come at all. Fiancé was shocked and confused. I explained to him that even mild inflammation would cause days and weeks of irritation at best, or months of pain and cracked skin and possible infections at worst. He had no idea and was completely oblivious and very confused. He's only really known me while my condition has been pretty decently controlled, and I tend to play it off as not so serious to people because I don't want to talk about it. We finished our phone call, and after a couple of hours my friend called me back. I can tell she's been crying and was quite upset. She apologized profusely, and it turns out that her future mother and sister-in-law had been picking away at her, making her feel awful about herself and how she needs to be perfect, presentable, and beautiful on the day, that nothing can distract from her. They both had to convince her that she is especially kind in not worrying or caring about how I looked, that everyone else is just lying to me and her about not caring. It's been going on for months, even before they knew of the engagement. Little digs about me trying to turn my friend against me. Both mother-in-law and sister-in-law are apparently disgusted by my psoriasis, to the point it makes them physically ill, and that our entire wedding day will revolve around how I look and will make everyone miserable. That is all anyone would speak about. And if I came, no guest would be able to eat or enjoy themselves. That I was selfish for even considering going without hiding it. They didn't want me there at all, and were threatening my friend with not allowing the wedding at all. It was never about the photographs, it was about my condition being visible in general. I didn't really know what to say or do. It was a lot to process, and I do truly believe my friend is sorry. Like I said, this was so out of character for her. My friend's fiancé got on the phone once she finished explaining. He's going to speak to his family. He apparently had no idea this was happening and is pissed for my friend on my behalf. I don't know what's happening with a wedding or wedding party, but my friend has said that she can't imagine her day without me there, and that she feels awful she allowed them to manipulate her that way. I don't know how I feel yet, but I have emotional whiplash. I'm hurt and confused my friend let them convince her to go through with this, but I do think and hope we can get through this. Opie added another comment and said, "Hey, that's me. I just edited an update into the original post, but TLDR, friend wasn't behind the request but felt pressured into doing it and had momentary lapse of judgment. Her mother-in-law and sister-in-law have apparently been running an a whole bag of cheese, the OP's username, campaign for months and months, and seriously adding to the stress since they learned of the upcoming engagement. I'm still a bit hurt by my friend's choices, but ultimately understand where she's coming from and believe her apology wholeheartedly. The positive to come out of this situation is that I'm going to take my psoriasis a lot more seriously, and will be finding a rheumatologist and a new dermatologist since mine apparently sucks real bad." But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it if it was you? Would you be able to forgive that friend or not? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Pretty Promenade, who says, "Am I overreacting that my friend cried at my engagement party?" And blames me. I have a friend of about 10 years. Let's call her L, that I asked to help with my wedding by being my day of coordinator. I'm a wedding planner myself. I just need someone I can trust to pull off the timing. She is a wedding planner in New York City for high-end clients, so I know just how skilled she is firsthand. She was thrilled to work with me. For 8 months, we met for coffee and chatted every so often to catch her up on my plans. It felt like an absolutely perfect fit. Fast forward to my engagement party. My maid of honor hosted the party and my bridesmaids put it all together. It was a beautiful masterpiece and could not have been any better. It was magical. Until about 1 hour before the end, all of a sudden my friend L is in tears. She informs me that she remembered that today was the anniversary of a really traumatic event in her life and she was having a panic attack. I was so concerned for her and I wanted her to have her privacy and know that I was there for her. I sat with her after my maid of honor consoled her and we hugged and cried together as I talked her through it. She said she wanted to rejoin the group but ultimately ended up leaving after going to the bathroom without saying anything to anyone. We sent her some texts but knew she would need some time and space before she replied. The next morning I wake up to a voicemail from L saying that she'll no longer be my coordinator because she felt unsupported and betrayed while she was going through a crisis. She felt the party shouldn't have continued and we should have focused on cheering her up as a group. She also felt unthanked for planning my party. I was pretty shocked, not only by her accusations, but my bridesmaids planned my party and my maid of honor was the host. Am I missing something here? I apologized to her and told her I really thought I had tried my best to comfort her and help, but that really was not good enough to her and sounded like excuses. I can't stop thinking about how I just feel like I have whiplash about this whole thing. It was supposed to be, and was at first, one of our happiest days leading up to our wedding, but the hours and days following it have just felt like a dark cloud. Now we're at 6 months from the wedding, with a lot of loose ends and a bruised heart. Am I overreacting? Commenter says to OP, a high-end wedding planner should know that wedding festivities go on despite their own feelings. Trying to hijack your attention from your own engagement party reeks of deeper issues. If you feel she deserves one good conversation and maybe a chance, it seems reasonable, given her previous reputation. However, if you think separation would ease any anxiety, it would be well justified. OP says thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I guess I just feel guilty for resting on it's my party in a sense, but maybe I'm boiling it down too much. I didn't try to convince her to stay because I would be destroyed if something like this happened again on my wedding night, as much as I hate to say it. Edit. And you make a really great point about her professionalism. Another commenter says, not overreacting. Do you think maybe she's a bit jealous that someone else threw an event that you love so much, that it's her bag, and somehow she resents that the party went well and directing those emotions towards you? You did nothing wrong, and it would have been wrong and insanely awkward for everyone else to stop the party because she was upset. A rational person would have taken themselves away from the party or even home if they were that distressed. Opie says, wow, I hadn't considered that she was jealous for that reason, but you could be right. She had said a few things that seemed off to me, like they were complaints, but somehow she wasn't happy about it for me, and I didn't know what to make of it. Thanks for saying so. I tried to put myself in her shoes and felt sympathy for her, but had trouble reconciling with her conclusions. Do you think it's worth being honest with her in any capacity? What I mean is, at our last convo, she said she needed an apology and to express herself and achieve those things. But I was blindsided, so I can't say I did a good job defending myself or knowing I needed to. Another commenter says, I'm sorry? After what I'm assuming was over a period of time worth of discussions about the engagement party, and just friend-to-friend conversations because that's what friends do, since she didn't plan or host it. How did it take 1 hour before it ended for her to remember the anniversary of a tragic event? I'll admit I have some events that happened in my life that I consider to be tragic, but I'm still a little shaky on the dates. I may not remember the exact date, but I know the time frame. Or I might be consumed by life and not actually realize that today is that date. But she had to have known the date of the engagement party and had talked about it on more than one occasion. How did she never remember an event that was so tragic to the point of having a panic attack was approaching? Let's just say that's what happened. Why are you expected to end your celebration to cater to her? You and others took the time out to step aside and console her. You gave her time and privacy to gather herself. She decided she couldn't handle it and left, without notice. How is that your fault? Did she really expect you to tell your guests that the party was over because she suddenly remembered a tragic event that you seem to be unaware of? I could be wrong. During a 10-year friendship span. I don't mean to sound harsh, but if she didn't need or expect your support for this anniversary every year, why were you expected to put your life on hold for it for that day? I would like to think that if you had known about it, you wouldn't have had it on that day, or at the very least told her you would understand and that she couldn't make it. But how are you to do this in consideration of something that happened in her life that she didn't even remember herself? Opie responded saying that I think there's a lot to be said for not realizing what day it is, so I won't sit here and speculate that. But one thing I will say is that throughout the past 4 months that the party was being planned, she never once mentioned it when I told her the date, sent her the invitation, and we made plans for her to come to town surrounding the date. Her goal was to attend the party and also make a weekend out of wedding planning before and afterwards. About 3 days prior to the party, she did tell me a story about this traumatic event, but I had no context for how long ago it happened or that I should know this weekend was going to be an important date in that story. I felt oblivious to the small details I ended up being held responsible for. I'll be honest and say that I wouldn't move my party if it was already planned, but I would understand if she couldn't come. Opie also clarifies on if she was planning to pay Elle for doing the wedding planning. Opie says thank you. And yes, just to clarify, I was going to cover her costs for travel, gas, lodging, etc. as it pertains to the wedding coordinating. So since I won't be incurring any of those, I guess a thank you note will do it. And yes, I think you're right that I can't possibly have her at my wedding. She wasn't even on my radar of people to worry about, and I don't need to knowingly add one, that's for sure. I don't doubt that something like this would definitely happen. I offered to pay, she insisted it to be a gift. I insisted I at least cover her expenses. Plus, she is the day of coordinator. I'm planning the entire wedding down to decor and the agenda. She would execute, organize, schedule, and directing staff. So you think I deserve to have this happen because she insisted on gifting her services? I'm curious what you think I could have done differently. So OP adds an update and says, hey everyone, I have an update. My ex-wedding coordinator, after apparent deliberation in the past few weeks, is saying she realizes how selfish she had been and how poorly she treated me at and surrounding the party. I feel like my maid of honor must have said something to her. I only know what I've been able to gather from her 45-second voicemails, that she'd been leaving me before they cut her off. She seems to be sincere in wanting to apologize face to face, and that's okay I guess. But I'm just struggling with whether or not it's even right for me to be friends with someone like this. Even if they're not invited to the wedding and don't live near me. And how do you be friends with someone you wouldn't invite to your wedding? Not because the guest list is full, but no matter how long or short the guest list was. I haven't heard her out yet, but she's asking for some form of communication with me. I don't even think I'm willing to have a conversation with her to take her apology, but would probably prefer her to write to me instead, whether that be email, text, or if she prefers handwriting. I don't want to be caught in a torrent of rebuttals and buts tacked on to the end of what's supposed to be an apology to me. I'm terrified of getting baited into a conversation where I feel yet again cornered and bullied because she turns it around on me somewhere. My head is a little spinny. Help. Opie adds a second update and says, "Thank you to everyone that read the post before commenting, and thank you for your words of encouragement. Just to clarify, I never received an apology in the voicemail she's left, so whether or not I speak to her again, I don't consider it apology accepted. She's not forgiven. Also, she was never going to be my wedding coordinator after the day she tried to withdraw. There is no changing that. I'm an experienced event planner and have learned that when a vendor lets you down big the first time, you let them go forever. It wasn't going to be that way with our friendship until all of this went down. I let her know that I did receive her voicemails but don't wish to speak to her and have nothing left to say outside of what my maid of honor likely said to her. From all the crying I did to her while I was processing all of this. I let her know a few more things I felt she should know and that she can write to me, but I won't be responding as if it's a back and forth. This isn't up for debate. I'll update here again if or when she writes." And then another update that says, for anyone that was interested, I got an email from Elle today, and she was too pissed off at me for unfriending and unfollowing her on social media. So she told me that she didn't have time for my bullshit. It was as short as that, really. So there's nothing left to do or say, and maybe I won't forgive her, but I'll do my best to forget about it. Thanks to everyone that commented and was invested. Each of you gave me a little support. And the relevant comment on that one said, "It sounds like you're not really interested in being friends with her." Totally fair, and I'd feel the same, to be honest. If it was me, I'd probably text and say, "Hey, I got your messages. I'm not in the place where I want to be talking to you right now and just want to focus on wedding planning and events. Thank you, appreciate the apology, and maybe you'll reach out after the wedding." That's probably what I would do. If her apology is genuine, she'll quit bugging you after that. But it sounds like she's got main character syndrome in spades, so she might put up a fuss. Then you can say you're not looking for drama right now, and if she doesn't leave you alone, you'll have to block her until after the wedding. Opie says, "You're right. I'm not anymore. I think at first I felt like it was just another lost friendship, because I've had to draw these lines in the sand before with friends who were the kind who were always down on their luck, but always making decisions to get themselves there. When things would go sideways between us, I would always feel guilty, even if I was the one with the grievance. I wasn't emotionally mature enough to understand that someone can be mad at you, but it doesn't mean you did anything wrong. I was never able to tell before. Now it just takes me a while to come around. It's a little easier, so thank you for your feedback and everyone here if I don't respond personally." Someone said to OP that they need to make sure that Elle can't get into the venue on the wedding day. OP says she lives hundreds of miles away. I think I'm good. And another commenter says, "So, you said this so perfectly. I'm terrified of getting baited into a conversation where I feel yet again cornered and bullied because she turns it around on me somewhere." And then says, "This does not sound like a person you trust anymore. Nor would most people, I'm guessing. Not that I would know most people. If you have to walk on eggshells, if you know she is not really attuned to you except to figure out where she can make the conversation about her. If she bullies you, then there's not much friendship to be found any longer." I think you're on the right track to say that you're only comfortable with written exchanges right now. Right now is vague, possibly stretching to forever. You already know that she misrepresents things. You already know that she badgers you. Let her write it down, because then she has a chance to be more thoughtful, and you have a chance to hand the unread letter to your lovely mother-in-law and ask her to read it and just give you the gist. After that, you write back briefly to say thank you for whatever you want to thank her for. Wedding-wise, thank her for the apology if you want. You can say that I appreciate and say after or before the above, this obviously has come between us and that's sad, but it's for the best that we part ways here. Whatever you want. Fairly soupy if you want. Even obviously insincere if you want. You're just ending things politely. Opie says this was definitely one of the top comments on this post. Thank you. I'm avoiding saying things like I appreciate because I'm sugarcoating nothing at this point. But I have been cordial, waiting on my apology to decide if my mind is made up fully. And I keep coming back to that comment that said, was she just jealous? Someone else ran that party and therefore she didn't like it and created a scene. I'm not saying she didn't have a panic attack or anything like that, but it certainly felt like what that comment was saying to be true. And I just keep coming back to, she's meant to be helping you plan your wedding, saving you from the stress, but it's just created like 10 times more, and it's like, oh my word. So I don't blame you one moment what you're doing in this situation, because holy moly. But what do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.